Well, for the first time in my entire life, after those two games, I was left speechless.
You are Locked On Blue Jays, your daily Toronto Blue Jays podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome back to Locked On Blue Jays. Thank you for making Locked On Blue Jays your first listen every day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube. But the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Today's episode brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. Download the app today. As always, I'm Brayden. He's Carter First. Skylar Peters joining us.
Just cleaning the webcam there.
Okay,
yeah.
Follow us on Twitter, Brayden5 Carter First 2, Skylar A. Peters as well on our main Twitter account at Locked On Jays, Instagram, TikTok at Locked On Blue Jays, and if you're new here to YouTube, hit that subscribe button. We're trying to get all the Blue Jays fans in here as they continue to make history. Holy smokes, boys. What a weekend. What a game. I honestly don't even know where to start. Like, there were that many crazy, amazing things that happened. I guess first reactions here. I want to start here. So Saturday, for the game, we were out. We had a wedding. Wedding gets done just in time for us to sit there, watch the game with the entire, I don't know, Carter, how many people were there? Like 50 people in that basement?
Yeah, there's probably 40 to 50 people. There's a lot of Jays fans, and then there was one lonely guy on the opposite side. Every friend group seems to have a Yankees fan. Just it always happens like that. So he was in some uncharted territory. We were letting him have it, especially later on in that first game. But like, who would have thought it was going to go like this, right? Like that first game, again, hanging on every single pitch. They kind of blow it open later on in the game, and then you go to game two. Like, you're a little bit worried. Max Fried, their ace on the mound. You have gotten to him this year, but who would have thought the Toronto Blue Jays were going to do that? I'm not sure what kind of voodoo magic they had going on there, but it was absolutely insane. Like, you have Trey Savage, absolutely dominant. Some of the swings that guy got was hilarious. Watching Aaron Judge, Stanton, Jazz Chisholm with like the check swing fly ball early on. Like, that was a hilarious one as well. And then you get a Vladimir grand slam. Daulton Varsho has 1 million bases. Like, everyone throughout the lineup, just dominant. Crazy, and I loved every single minute of it.
It was a great weekend for Blue Jays fans. Don't get me wrong. Still one game to go. Still got to win, but we're going to go over everything. Peters, my man, where was your head at like that entire weekend?
So I had to work at exactly 2:08 or 2 Mountain Time, start of game one on Saturday. So got there early, got set up, and honestly, man, it just started in the bottom of the first with the solo home run from Vladimir Guerrero Jr. We know what this team has been through, like this iteration of the team, this core, John Schneider in the playoffs, and, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. personally. And that just, like, at that moment, I just was able to breathe a little bit. And then obviously everything Kevin Gausman did from there on in was exactly what you wanted from him, maybe more than you expected, given how he came out in game 162 and maybe it wasn't his best stuff, even though, the Jays offense certainly carried the load there against the Rays last Sunday. And it was a little bit of a tight one for some points on Saturday, and today was the perfect baseball game. I've been watching this team for 15 years. I've never seen every facet of the baseball team deliver on such a high level at the same time. More than what I saw in the biggest moment, the biggest game the Blue Jays have played in 9 years, at home at the Rogers Center. Roof open, by the way, which was awesome. I think it would have collapsed anyway, probably several points this weekend, but with all the home runs the Blue Jays hit. But turned into a laugher, thankfully early on, and, embarrassing the Yankees. There's just no better team to do this to than the New York Yankees. And I think, it's one thing that, like, obviously the Blue Jays play for the country, and we all talk about that once in a while. There's a whole lot of people south of the border that are also cheering for the Blue Jays right now, especially in Massachusetts, especially in Maryland, especially in Tampa Bay, and a lot of people that don't want to see the Yankees go any further and are becoming, Blue Jays fans, at least, through this weekend and into Tuesday, and hopefully not any longer than that. But just such a positive wave and a tsunami of momentum for the Blue Jays.
Well, even their very own Bills are cheering for the Blue Jays.
Yeah.
What an absolute
Ernie Clement's a
bagger.
Bills guy. And then the Yankees fans were not very happy about the Bills social media team posting things. I think it was on Twitter, Instagram. There's a couple out there. The Yankees fans were not very happy about that one.
People forget the Bills played games at the Rogers Center. Like I remember that as a kid growing up. So if you're a New York Yankees fan, you expect the Buffalo Bills to wish you good luck. Like heading into the postseason, I think you're absolutely delusional. Like
a lot of
you got the Jets and Giants to wish you good luck. I mean, they're standards of excellence in the National Football League. What else do you need?
That's right. A lot to get into today. We're going to talk Trey Savage. We're going to talk Vladimir Guerrero Jr. All the numbers around it. Something that's been blowing up the Twitterverse a little bit, and that is in regards to when Trey Savage was pulled. John Schneider of it all. Aaron Boone's comments about Trey Savage we'll get into as well. And you know what, guys? Let's just start there. We can sit here and say that Trey Savage was absolutely disgusting, that he was one of the best sights I've ever seen in my entire life. Brought a tear to my eye when he's talking about his parents. But I think let's let Aaron Boone do the talking for us.
Yeah, I mean, that was nasty stuff. I mean, that split is, unlike much you ever run into. And, I had to go and he was starting it up a lot, breaking it down off the plate, using his fastball enough and slider enough. But we just didn't have an answer for the split that, he was on his game.
That's not bad, eh?
Not bad stuff from the kid whatsoever.
Can I just run this down? Like, everyone that's listening to this probably, watched Trey Savage or seen like some sort of highlights. But he's 22 years old. He started this year in A-ball. Dan Schulman said this at the start of the broadcast. His first game in A-ball this year, he played in front of 374 fans. He went in front of 42,000 and a nation watching on TV and on Fox down south. People cheering for or against the Yankees. 5.1 innings pitched, 0 hits. He allowed 1 hit that was an error by Vladdy, of course, 1 runner to reach base, 1 walk in the first to Aaron Judge, 11 strikeouts. It's a Blue Jays record in the postseason, period. Not rookie record, not first career postseason game. Blue Jays postseason record. You know who he beat? David Price, Juan Guzman, Dave Stieb. You ever heard of them? They all had 8. Trey Savage had 11 today in 5 innings. And then the pop out and walking off the mound, John Schneider taking the ball and the second curtain call of the game after Vladdy's home run when he did it in a jacket. Just unbelievable. It's crazy. Like, I think back to our Hot Takes episode a lot at the start of the season. Like, this would have been wilder than when Dallin Wilton said that we'd win the World Series. Because that one's live. Like, that one's got a chance. This happened. And nobody saw Trey. We were talking about Ricky Tiedemann, Alek Manoah. And here comes Trey Savage. They can't print jerseys fast enough. I hope they called people into the J shop today working overtime because, man, this guy is unbelievable. And there is no answer. Nobody has an answer in Major League Baseball for that release point, that splitter, when it backs up. Everything about him. It was incredible to watch. And just to cap it off, the interview with Hazel on the field after, asked him about his family. They've watched him play in Dunedin, New Hampshire, Vancouver, everywhere this year. Yeah. And now they obviously watched his MLB debut in Tampa Bay, also at a minor league ballpark. And here he comes, Rogers Center, 42,500 people on their feet chanting his name. And no crying in baseball, boys, but that was pretty close.
Oh, no, I was full on tearing.
Pretty close. Madison Shipman said she, might have teared up a little bit. I wasn't too far off either. It's just incredible. And that's without talking about the offense. But we could spend 55 minutes talking about Trey Savage today. But it was just incredible. And I hope everyone realizes that we witnessed that. And if you were a part of that moment, if you were watching on TV, if you were lucky enough to be at the Rogers Center, I hope you carry that with you for a long time because that's what this sport's about.
You know what? That's exactly it. It's a kid who just loves the game. And I think for this being his first experience really with the Blue Jays coming up, right? Not having any of the past trauma that we've all been through with this club a little bit. He comes in and the fans immediately love him and he feels the support. He feels the moment. And when you're talking about locking up a guy long-term, and not saying that, he's going to be this unbelievable Hall of Fame pitcher. But to have that guy and for the seed to be planted that this is how this organization treats people and the fan base treats people in the long term is going to play effect if he does become something that we all hope for. So just an amazing outing. I could go on and on about him. It's the release point to me. And I had a couple people ask me over the weekend before his start, why would they do this? Why would they bring this 22-year-old kid in for his first postseason appearance and throw him in game 2? And I said, there's teams that have no film on him, haven't seen him, and he has the biggest upside. There was people doubting me and Carter. We went on to Sportsnet a few times. People were doubting or didn't believe us when we said that Trey Savage was going to be a starter in this playoffs, which to me, this is what the possibility was, right? There was always going to be a downside that it could have gone bad, but would you rather take this upside or a guy like Max Scherzer at this point? Like, come on, right? So just an amazing day, and for him to be able to go out there and prove us right, prove and show everybody why everybody wanted him to be in this ball game, exceptional.
We talked a lot about the trade deadline, about not really having that ace and just needing somebody to step up. Not a lot of people would have had Trey Savage, obviously, at the start of the season. And it just goes back to think, like, how did 19 different teams pass up on Trey Savage in the 2024 draft? Trey Savage might be the only good thing that came out of 2024 for the Toronto Blue Jays. So we threw that entire season away just for that draft pick because, oh my goodness, it's been insane. This guy started in A-ball this year, and now, again, like you said, we just saw it in front of our eyes, setting franchise records, going out in the second playoff game at the Rogers Center, and it's just an old-fashioned just whooping. That's what that was, Trey Savage on the mound. It's incredible. Skylar used that word, and that's truly what it was. Like, not a lot of times, especially us on the podcast, we definitely like the app on here. Not a lot of times we're going to be speechless, but with Trey Savage, it was just, I was in awe the entire time. Absolutely insane. Tied for 5th all-time in strikeouts in Major League Baseball. This isn't just, again, not just for rookies, in all-time 11 strikeouts. That is tied for the 5th best in Major League Baseball. Truly incredible stuff. The splitter, Aaron Boone said it. You could ask anybody with the arm slot. Obviously, we've heard a lot about that. The numbers are absolutely insane. The whiffs he's getting, absolutely insane. On the splitter alone, the guy had 11 whiffs. It's incredible stuff. That's all you can really say about Trey Savage at this point.
So, Carter, you brought up a great point there, but the one thing I wanted to say was you were talking about the splitter. Aaron Boone talked about the splitter. To me, the splitter's gross and it's nasty, and that's going to get people. But the fact that he can play the fastball off of that and is so effective with his fastball that pitch is able to do its job, that is what's extraordinary to me. Because, yeah, there's some guys that have crazy break. You got the Brennan Littles, but there isn't the same fastball command and velocity that Trey Savage brings. And that's what makes him so much better. Yes, we can sit here and talk about the splitter all live long day, but it's the command of the fastball as well that's going to vault him above some of these other guys that have nasty stuff. But I wanted to ask you guys this, because I heard this starting to get brought up and it popped into my head. And Trey talked about it too a little bit when he was being interviewed. The fact that they were ramping him up slowly and properly this whole season, because in my head, I did not expect the plan to be get him in. And there must have been a very early plan to do this if that was how they were going to work him up, because you don't start like that if you don't expect him to be in this position. So my question to both of you, Skylar, I'll start with you. Do you think that there was a plan so early this offseason, going back to him playing an A ball, that they thought maybe that's a possibility and maybe that's why we're going to start ramping him up this way? Or do you think this just sort of came out of nowhere?
Well, probably a little bit of both, but I think you could take it even further back than that. Like when they drafted him out of East Carolina, 20th overall in the first round of the draft last year, he didn't pitch the rest of the year, right? He ate a bunch of innings, for, I think they're the Pirates, right? The East Carolina Pirates, or whatever they are. I think when you realize you have such a unique talent and like this trait with the arm slot, and it doesn't it's not just Pete Walker and John Schneider. I think there's a lot of people in the organization, all the managers along the way are probably saying this in unison. Like, you have to treat this as a weapon. It can be a weapon in development, but it obviously the goal is to get him into the major leagues. He's a first round pick. That's the expectation of him. And I think, a little bit of what Trey has probably shown throughout this helped push this. I mean, He could be like Alek Manoah in AAA and just not show it. Next thing you know, he's on the Atlanta Braves, right? But I think, with Trey, this guy, in almost every start at every new level, he struggled in some way, completely bounced back, got used to that new level of hitting. And we have not seen that yet through 4 MLB appearances, which is maybe concerning. Maybe he's due for that. But it's just, he has done everything. Like, he has truly taken the ball and ran with it. And I think, a lot of credit goes to the khakis and everyone, down in the dugouts at all these levels in the Blue Jays organization, in Dunedin, at the pitching combine they have there, and all that they've invested into it. This is why the Blue Jays did that, is for this. And it doesn't have to be another player right away, but Trey Savage is the fruit of that labor. And I think they can hang their hat on that for, obviously, hopefully for the rest of a long postseason run, but for years to come, to know that, what they're doing now is working.
See, for me, when you draft a guy in the first round, you do not expect that guy to come up that same year and pitch for your team, especially make a playoff start in Game 2 at the Rogers Center in front of 40,000 plus people. Absolutely insane stuff. So I don't think that was the plan initially. I think with the innings limit, like Skylar said, they did not pitch him at all after they drafted him, because it's a lot different with college ball and obviously the MLB season. It's pretty long. You guys have not realized that, obviously. 162 is a lot of games. So I think they did have him on that innings limit. They didn't want to overthrow him. They didn't want him to, all of a sudden do something where he throws 60 more innings than he's ever done. And then maybe you have some injury concerns. There's a bunch of other things, fatigue, that comes in with that as well. But I think as soon as you start seeing him every single time he moves up to the next one, again, it was usually a command thing, again, new adjustment in front of, 300 people, then it's 2,000. Then it obviously gets a little bit different as well. Just the different hitters, the different style of the league and everything like that. So with Trey, as soon as you started seeing him progress as quickly as it was, I think at that point he was forcing your hand. He was at the point where he made a decision that was impossible to not have him on your playoff roster. And that's kind of what we picked up on in September. As soon as he made that first start, I was completely won over. You were pretty much won over as well. And for good reason. Like, going back to just the game as well, I think one of my favorite parts about that Trey Savage start, the post-game interview was probably my favorite, but just the looks on the Yankees hitters' faces in the dugout when they're staring at the iPads and they have no idea how to figure Trey Savage out. They look completely lost. Anthony Volpe, just the most confused look on his face of all time. Jazz Chisholm, like, they had no clue. You can have all the tape on this guy you want. Everybody knows what the arm slot, everyone knows how this guy's going to attack you. It just doesn't matter. It's so unique. It's so disgusting. The stuff's just all there that it doesn't matter how you prepare for Trey Savage right now. He's just going to go out there and dominate you.
So the last piece here, because we got to talk about the offense, and there's, again, we said we could talk 50 minutes on Trey Savage. We've already done 20. So we'll continue. We'll talk about the offense. But the last piece I wanted to throw in was how weird his slider is. And that nobody
Aaron Judge,
about.
It literally moved the other way. It was
it broke the wrong way. Yes, I couldn't believe it. I sort of looked at it and just right away, I'm like, what was that? Like, that's not what kind of pitch is that?
Even on the broadcast, like, was that the splitter? Was that the slider? And then they rewound and we watched the pitch, and it broke into Aaron Judge. It broke the literal opposite way that a slider normally would. If he could somehow just make it out of pitch, I'm not sure what you even call that, but you give Trey Savage another pitch that does that, and they're not even hitting him now. He had 10 strikeouts through 4 innings. It's insanity.
One more thing I'll add on the pitching. We saw this in both games, and a lot of credit to Kevin Guasman. First pitch strikes, did not allow runners on base. And obviously at the top of the game, when the lineup comes around, you got Aaron Judge hitting second in both games for the New York Yankees. They ran up the same lineup both games, which was insane to me, but maybe a conversation after the break. And he dictated all of the at-bats, like every single at-bat. And Trey talked in the post-game when he was at the podium about how, he sat with the starters, as they all do. And I'm sure him and Kevin Gausman had this conversation, when KG came out of the game on Saturday. And, you get ahead, you command, you attack. And we saw the strut coming off the mound at the end of 4 innings. This guy was confident. He's the youngest player on the field, I'm pretty sure, at all. Maybe Ben Rice.
I think Savage is younger.
Yeah. He's 2 years. I remember Aaron Sanchez making the start in 2016 and how excited we were for that. He was 24. Trey Savage is 22. This is nuts. And the amount of confidence he has. And, why shouldn't he?
Ben Rice is 26. So, he's got 4 years.
Right.
100%.
Yeah. Like that's it's crazy. Like it gets you excited to think about the long term of this guy. That's not why we're here right now. Obviously, we're worried about Tuesday. We're worried about the rest of this month. But credit to everything the Blue Jays have done. They have a veteran pitching staff. These guys are grizzled. Even the Jose Berrioses and the Chris Bassitts, these guys won't factor in the series. Max Scherzer, obviously. They're all giving Trey Savage a little bit here, a little bit there. And it's up to him to kind of take the best pieces and see what approaches, what fits his approach in this game. And it was all on display on Sunday.
And sorry, I have one more thing because why not at this point? How ready he was. He didn't let the hitters take a breath. Like he was standing there ready to pitch. He'd get the ball back. The batters would be they would have to use timeouts because he was so locked in and just ready to go. That pitch was coming at you immediately. It was almost like when we're playing Mario Super Sluggers on the Wii and Carter's fast pitching me and I don't have a breath to get my hands back in time. I'm exhausted swinging the Wii remote. I couldn't imagine what these guys were going up against. So and that all comes from confidence. And you brought that up, Skylar. It's such a talent of a young pitcher to have that confidence in going into these situations. But that's it. I'll leave it there. We got to talk about the offense. We got to talk about John Schneider's decision to pull Trey Yesavage in that moment. I want to get your guys' thoughts and feelings on that as well. A lot of people fired up. A lot more to come. Stick with us on Locked On Blue Jays.
The NFL season is here, and FanDuel has an offer you don't want to miss. Right now, new customers can bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if you win. That's right. Pick a bet, put down 5 schmeebs, and if it hits, you'll unlock $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. I've been in the trenches all day. Long Seahawks game, which kind of took a little bit of the wind out of my sails after the Blue Jays got up 12-0. And that sort of thing. But I tell you what, the FanDuel, the same game parlays, the multi-same game parlays, you get a piece of the action. I got to keep looking over my shoulder. I've got a little action on the other ALDS game right now with the Tigers leading the Mariners early in Seattle. Everything going on FanDuel is right where you want to be. In the MLB postseason, NFL season in full swing, big games every Thursday, Sunday, and Monday. So what are you waiting for? Visit FanDuel.com to download the FanDuel app today and get started.
Today's episode also brought to you by Farm to Fork. If you're a fan of locally premium farmed meats delivered straight to your door, I've got some exciting news. Farm to Fork makes it easy to get high-quality steaks, air-chilled chicken, wild-caught seafood, and more with no antibiotics, hormones, or GMOs. Plus, everything comes flash-frozen and individually packaged for your convenience. All Farm to Fork meats are raised on Canadian farms, so when you order, you're supporting local producers. It's time to buy Canadian. I've told this story many times on the pod. Ross Levitan, I went over there and helped him build a shed. Last thing I wanted to do, but he said, I got Farm to Fork ready to go. So I was like, okay, you convinced me. I'm there. They're that good. I'm telling you, go pick yourself up some. I've got special code just for you guys. Use code LOCKEDON40 to get $40 off your first order at Farm to Fork. Visit farm2forkdelivery.ca to start stocking up on the best meats around. Again, that's LOCKEDON40 for $40 off your first order. Farm to Fork, delicious, locally farmed meats delivered straight to your door. All right, boys, as we continue, still a lot more to cover. We'll talk a little bit about the bullpen decisions, how they performed, but we've left it long enough that we got to talk about the offense. And I'm going to start it here for you fellas. Vladimir Guerrero Jr., so many question marks around this guy, right? Is he worth the $500 million? Oh, he's having a down year. It's not terrible, but it's not great. He doesn't show up in those big moments. These 2 games, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. showed everybody why he's worth that money, why he's the face and the heart of this franchise. Never a bigger moment, and Vladimir Guerrero Jr. steps up. That grand slam, the bat flip he did, there are going to be pictures of that home run just as Jose Bautista's. It's not quite there, but I think with the way that he's playing right now, there will be a conversation to come if he keeps playing like this in the playoffs. Peters, we'll start with you. Vladdy, man, just what a start to the playoffs for him.
Yeah, and obviously the Grand Slam today, like when I think of Blue Jays postseason baseball, I don't think about like every game and going against, pitchers and matchups and the team you're going to play and the rivalry, obviously in the case of the Yankees. I think about the moment. And in 2015 and 2016, we were lucky enough to have the moment. Obviously, 2015, it was Jose Bautista and everything that led up to it, all the errors by the Texas Rangers and the momentum that built up, and then just bang, the roof popped off the Rogers Center. 2016 is the Edwin home run in the wild card game, right? This might be the Blue Jays moment. And hopefully not, but if it's another 10 years before we have a moment like this, I just hope everyone remembers what they were doing, who they high-fived, what you said when that ball left the yard and landed what? Like a section over from where Jose Bautista hit his, and the bat flip, yeah, it went in the other direction, but like all of it. And like the things I didn't notice the bat flip till I saw it on Instagram. Like I was too busy jumping around it. I'm alone in my apartment in Calgary. Like I looked like an idiot. But it was just absolutely incredible. We know how much he loves the Blue Jays. And Jeff Blair said on Blue Jays Talk over the weekend, Vladdy's deal effectively started this weekend, and pretty good return on investment so far for Vladimir Guerrero Jr., continuing to own the Yankees, the team he said he would never play for and certainly loves to play against.
It's crazy how, like, honestly, 6 months ago, like, he was supposed to be a New York Yankee. Like, Vladdy was already on the Yankees, according to a lot of.
Oh, you remember when he was hugging players in the outfield before, like, a series in April, and they're like, oh, yeah.
They go, that's it. He's getting traded.
Yeah. How's that going for you?
Yeah, and he's absolutely owning your franchise right now. 12 total bases in his first 2 games. And the craziest thing, not even just with Vladdy, kind of with the offense in totality, is that they went through a very bad stretch. There were 6 or 7 games there. You had the Royals series, the Rays series, where this offense looked anemic. It looked horrible. And a lot of people were like, I don't think the Jays are winning the American League East. They're going to go in the wild card, and they play like this going into the wild card. I wouldn't be surprised if they get swept. Then 4 games left remaining in the season. Clearly, the Toronto Blue Jays needed to win all 4 of them. The offense picks up from there. The last game of the season, obviously, it was just an onslaught, and they've carried that momentum over those 5 days into a playoff series. So the rest versus rust talk clearly doesn't matter when you're ready to play. When you play against the New York Yankees, you have something to prove. And maybe there's just a little bit of hatred, a little bit more emotion going into these games, especially when they are divisional rivals like the New York Yankees. But Vladdy's home run, like that grand slam, like I was doing the same thing as you, like trying to think of what was like a bigger moment. When's the last time we had like a big home run moment like that? And the only one I could really come across was Teoscar Hernandez in the Seattle Mariners series, where he had 2 home runs. And then that game, obviously, I hate talking about how that ended. But so we'll talk about this one right now because it had a lot more of a pleasurable ending. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. grand slam. Daulton Varsho, another guy that I want to bring up. Last year when we went to Toronto, I wanted to bring up the story as well. It was me, myself, Brayden, Justin, obviously, as well. We went to a Rays series. The first game, they were getting perfect gamed through 7 innings. They did not have a hit or a base runner or anything, so that was not very fun. But I was decided that I was going to get a Toronto Blue Jays jersey. I had a Springer one, and I had 3 options: Jordan Romano, Alek Manoah, or Daulton Varsho. And everyone was telling me to get Jordan Romano or Manoah. I'm like, I don't know. I think I want Varsho. I think it's probably the safest. And look at me, at least I made that right decision there. And he's proven to the people that we definitely won that Daulton Varsho trade for Gabriel Moreno and Lourdes Gurriel Jr. Insane stuff. Home runs, like doubles off Max Fried, back-to-back, a lefty-lefty matchup. He does not care about the numbers. He doesn't care about the analytics. Daulton Varsho just came to play. Unbelievable stuff. Ernie Clement swing off Max Fried as well. He's so out in front of the ball, but it doesn't matter. Horrible pitch by Max Fried, by the way, throwing Ernie Clement a low curveball right in the middle of his zone.
What was it, like 79 miles per hour? Like Ernie like shrugged like after he went. He looked at Mark Budzinski like rounding first base. Like, I don't know. Like that thing was like a foot outside the strike zone, and like it was just incredible. But yeah, good continue on. That was probably my favorite moment of today's game, and there were a lot of them.
It was like that swing that he had was like, it looked like it was almost a golf swing. It looked like he was just really trying to get the barrel out in front, but he clearly barreled it up and obviously launched it into the bullpen. But yeah, you can talk about Ernie Clement. George Springer obviously had to get himself into the fun as well after a little bit of a disappointing game 1, you could say. But there's a ton of guys. David Schneider had some very good at-bats early on, started off in the first inning. I absolutely love him against lefties in that number 2 spot. Nathan Lucas against righties. I think they've really figured that lineup out. I wanted to kind of bring this up to you. It doesn't really matter, I guess, but the Andres Gimenez being at number 8, I just give this guy the least amount of at-bats you can possibly do. I know he's good at defense. I get it. But watching this guy at the plate, I know he had a couple hits in these first 2 games. but it's painful. Just leave Andres Gimenez at the 9 spot, especially when you had Clement at 9, when you see what Ernie Clement can do offensively compared to Gimenez. Not really that big of a deal, but I don't know. Just seeing Andres Gimenez at anywhere other than the number 9 spot, I said that for every single time we were doing a playoff preview. Keep him in the number 9 spot. Don't overthink it.
You know what? I don't disagree with you. I do like him at 9, but Ernie Clement being that secondary leadoff hitter as well against.
He means a power hitter.
Well, I guess now,
he is batting cleanup now.
But he's been so electric. I don't mind that either. I think I prefer him at 9 as well.
Can you really go wrong with this lineup right now? Like,
no,
you can't matter where you put
anyone.
anyone.
That's the thing. Like,
no Bichette.
And I said it in like our group. This is an all-time day for the Locked On Blue Jays group chat. First of all, like, I'm sorry, boys, but I was like, I got nobody here. I was just so fired up. I needed to like express it, but man, like we have no Bichette. You paid Anthony Santander $30 million, and he didn't play in this baseball game. Obviously, he had some great at-bats and a big hit on Saturday before the big home run that really broke things open. But no Bichette. And you talk about the pitchers on the IL. Like this, the best is yet to come for this team. And I think the problem John Schneider has now is trying to manage everything and keep everybody hot. This team just had 5 days off. Like we were talking about rest. You guys were talking about rest versus rust on Friday. And look at where we are now.
The inter-squad games, eh?
And George Springer was 1 for 6 in this series, the MVP of the Blue Jays regular season, unquestionably, was 1 for 6. So if he gets going, and we don't see much of a drop-off from the rest of these guys, especially Varsho, Kirk, Guerrero, I don't know. Like I watched the Dodgers in game 1 of the wild card, and I told you guys they were terrifying. I don't think Dodgers fans think about the Blue Jays for good reason. Maybe they should. But if I was a fan of an NL team or the Mariners or Tigers, hoping that you're, going to the ALDS and the Blue Jays might meet you there, you should be terrified of this lineup.
Terrified. And you know what? I want to go back to a point you made, Carter, talking about Daulton Varsho, a guy that just had this kind of a game. And he is what? 3rd, 4th on the list of guys that you want to talk about? Like, it's insane. This guy doesn't get enough love. When you bring up Daulton Varsho's name, you think the best defensive center fielder in all of baseball. But you don't think of the ultimate 5-tool player, Daulton Varsho, that can smack the ball, can hit you 2 home runs in a game. But this season, and Carter, we talked about this. I want to say it was the beginning when we first started this podcast about what Daulton Varsho could be, right? It was, can he find that bat and become that player that everybody thought he eventually could be? Or that's the reason the Blue Jays got him, was to become that player. Now you are seeing the culmination of, since Daulton Varsho has arrived, to finding his game. This season, if he would have played this entire year, there could have been records broke. That's how great of baseball he played when he's been in this lineup. And to have him so solid and here for the playoffs, to avoid the major injury that would have cost him this playoff run, and just to be here is so massive. And again, another guy that we don't, haven't even got to yet, that's Alejandro Kirk. There was talks about him stealing strikes, about how more confident guys feel pitching to him than anybody else because of the way he can move. And that's no shot at Tyler Heineman either. The guys love Tyler Heineman as well for what greatness he's given this team this season. But Alejandro Kirk has been a beauty as well. So this lineup 1 through 9, I feel like you could go down and you can talk about a moment he had or a moment this guy had. And realistically, that is this Blue Jays, claim to fame, is that it's not Aaron Judge and Stanton, right, that do all the work, or Grisham or whoever. It's you could say, oh, what did Isiah Kiner-Falefa do for you today? Oh, what did Alejandro Kirk? What did Ernie Clement do? What did Nathan Lucas do the other day? Like it's just a bountiful of riches, or whatever it's called, whatever that saying is. I shouldn't do those.
What's it?
Just trying to pull out sayings the guy has just no idea.
Embarrassment of riches. But...
There you go. Thanks, Peters. Yeah. That's why we bring you on.
Wait, do I get my curtain called? Do I get my vamos?
I swear, like once every 2 weeks, I pull out a saying that I don't 100% know what it is, and I just
think they're so wrong that I don't even know what you're trying to say.
The best part about being like the third man in on this podcast is I listen every morning, obviously on the way into work, and I hear you say these things. I'm like, oh, that's not what it was. That's not what it's supposed to be. And then I'm waiting for Carter to like jump in, and I finally got to correct you.
There you go.
You know,
There you
as
go.
we're
I just let
recording.
him burn.
That was great.
Unfortunately,
Yeah, that was great. It burns me up for like 20 minutes. I can't believe this guy said that.
Carter's got clips of me with saying the wrong lines, probably saved somewhere that he's gonna pull out when I like say something dumb to him or whatever.
That should be the headline for today's pod. Bountiful of riches. Blue Jays push Yankees to the brink.
Honestly,
ALDS lead.
It's not that far off. It was okay. Like I could have said something way worse.
You got like one of the words right, yeah.
Yeah. I was half there, boy.
Two for three gets you in the Hall of Fame, baby.
That's right. Anyways, where do you guys want to go? Do you want to talk Kirk? You want to talk
I want to tie this actually into like the Daulton Varsho of this all, because looking just back at that trade, the biggest issue with the Daulton Varsho trade is people loved Gabriel Moreno. They thought he was the next coming of Christ, and they didn't necessarily believe as much in Alejandro Kirk. So the reemergence of Alejandro Kirk and just what he has done for this baseball team, like you're not missing Gabriel Moreno anymore because you're completely confident what Alejandro Kirk is doing. Like nobody really cares where Lourdes Guerrero is at when you have Daulton Varsho in the outfield playing way better defense, obviously, and now it's like you can have a debate which offensive or which guy provides you with more offensive prowess. Is it Lourdes Guerrero? Is it Daulton Varsho? Some may argue with this year, the sample size, it might be Daulton Varsho. So you're really getting that 5-tool player, obviously. And they're kind of playing off each other, not only with that trade, but in the lineup as well. Like Alejandro Kirk being in the middle of the order, super confident in him. Daulton Varsho obviously saw what he did against Max Fried and Will Warren. By the way, Will Warren coming into the game. You knew it was over when Will Warren's coming into a baseball game, especially when you just dominate Max Fried. So at that point, I pretty much knew what was going to happen. But it's the committee effect. It's David Schneider. It's Nathan Lucas. It's Vladimir Guerrero Jr. heating up. And it's like Skylar said, you're doing it all without George Springer really having like a crazy big moment other than the one home run. And then without the guy that's been driving in the most runs on your team this season in Bichette. So like Skylar said, it's a lot more upside, which is crazy to talk about right now for a team that absolutely dominated the New York Yankees. I'm just going to say it, belt to ass on the New York Yankees
Belt
Saturday,
Sunday.
That's your headline right there.
Belt to ass.
And just hope that we close it out. It's not going to be good if we don't. But I will say, Will Warren had a 11.57 ERA today. Anyone want to take a hack of what Luke Weaver's was in his
he's been terrible.
0.1 innings pitched?
Yeah, he finally got an out. Congratulations, Luke Weaver.
His ERA today was 135.
Yeah,
before it was infinity because he didn't have an out. So he had an infinity ERA.
Max Scherzer against the Royals was like 92, and I had to like triple take that. I just looked at 135.
We need a full game Luke Weaver versus Max Scherzer, first inning only.
And
first inning, too. Good luck. That game's not going to end.
We still be there.
First inning is going to take 2
It's
hours.
the top of the fourth, and the Blue Jays lead up 41-39. Here comes, I don't even know, some kind of double A I've never heard of.
We got so much more to talk about. We still got a break to hit, so we'll hit this and we'll come back. We'll break into Carter. I think one of the biggest things going on Twitter right now was the fact that they pulled Trey Yesavage when he was going hitless through his outing, and we're going to break that down. Sort of where do we all stand on that? And I know a little bit where Carter is. I know where I am. Peters, I want your answer coming out of the break, but we'll tee you up for that right after this.
Today's episode is sponsored by Monarch Money. Most people can't name all of their financial accounts or even what they're worth, whether it's 401ks, properties, or investments. And when you don't have the full picture, you can end up leaving money on the table. That's why there is Monarch Money. It's an all-in-one personal finance tool that brings your entire financial life together in one easy-to-use interface on your laptop or on your phone. Monarch is built for the people with the busy lives. If you've been putting off organizing your finances, Monarch Money is for you. Whether it's budgeting, whether it's investing in stocks, whether it's investing in other things as well, Monarch Money is a multifaceted tool that you can definitely use. Whether it's a budgeting problem, whether it's Brayden's, obsession with buying 1 million Toronto Blue Jays hats, he's probably going to buy a game-worn hat from Trey Savage. Now spend his life savings on that. Wouldn't be surprised if he added that to the collection. But if you do have some issues with budgeting, especially Monarch Money is a great tool for you guys to use. Don't let this financial opportunity slip through the cracks. Use Locked On MLB at monarchmoney.com in your browser for half off your first year. That is 50% off your first year at monarchmoney.com with code Locked On MLB.
Oh, sorry, Skylar. There you go. Got you in there.
No, all good. I was just looking back at Jorge Polanco just killing me right now. FanDuel's making a couple bucks back as the Mariners currently lead the Tigers 2-0 off 2 solo bombs from the number 4 hit.
Talk
There
about an
we
easy
go.
FanDuel bet. Trey Savage over strikeouts.
Oh man, yeah, that was
4.5.
That was free, and 10 plus would have been like 80 to 1. You know, like who obviously. Like, there's a reason it's 80
the
to 1.
hardest part about the bets.
You know what? And 4.5 didn't seem crazy though, because like we know what he's done to obviously every team he's faced for the first time.
It was just gonna be the length. That was like really my only thing. It's like he was gonna be productive. It's just how long was he gonna go? And we got 5 1/3 from him. Could have went longer, obviously, and that's kind of what we're going to discuss. Trey Savage threw 5 1/3 innings, 11 punchies, absolutely insane. Still reading it, even though I've read it a million times already. Has 1 walk in the game. Went through the order twice, and is after Austin Wells comes up, the 9-hitter in the Yankees lineup. John Schneider decides to go to the bullpen, and I was not quite getting nervous, but if there would have been like another run scored, I think I was starting to get Mariners flashbacks a little bit. I'll be completely honest. I was like, can it get any worse than that? This would have been it, blowing that lead to the New York Yankees. But Trey Savage gets pulled, and maybe it's again a little bit of a tougher question to answer now because you saw what the bullpen did kind of after that. But I'll throw it over to you, Skylar, to start off. Do you think if it was you, would you have kept Trey Savage in that game longer?
Nope. I think actually, you know, I give credit to John Schneider for letting him go back out for the 6th. And on a day where like we were throwing the word history around in the group chat, obviously through 8, 9, 10 Ks, watching this guy, knowing what he's done this year to get to this point, kind of sucked that it ended on a pop out to left field. But I mean, the fact that, he got his moment and you're up. I mean, guys, you're up 12-0. Like, if there's ever a time to see Justin Brule toe the rubber for the Blue Jays in the postseason, that was it. It was 12-0 one way or the other. So thank God it was this way for the Toronto Blue Jays. I think you got to take everything that happened after that, obviously, with a grain of salt. I do want to say the one thing that concerns me was Eric Lauer's performance in particular. There are some pitchers you don't expect to execute to such a level. Eric Lauer is certainly one of the ones for the Blue Jays where, he came in and I'm like, okay, we're going to get out of this. We're going to, right the ship here. We're going to cruise to this victory. And obviously, he got, I think, 1 out and couldn't do it. So it's crazy. Like, I never would have thought, well, first of all, I never would have thought we'd be doing podcasts on October 5th at the start of the season, because I predicted the Jays to finish 4th in the AL East. But I never would have thought I'd be such a John Schneider defender this year. And it starts with Trey Savage starting game 2, because I think if you put him out there on Tuesday in front of the bleacher creatures, regardless of if the Blue Jays were up 2-0 or this series was tied, or maybe it was 2-0 for the Yankees, there's no chance it would have gone this way. And all the moments were delivered for the fans and for the organization from that, obviously. But I give a lot of credit to John for taking him out where he did. I just, the one thing that gives me a little bit of worry is how the bullpen performed. But obviously with the off day, everyone's going to be ready to go on Tuesday, and the foot is on the throat of the Yankees, and they have to absolutely put their foot down.
Yeah, my only thing coming out of that was it's great. He didn't give up a hit. He was hitless. I wouldn't have minded if they would have let him go. But in saying that, I'm way more okay with it because of the situation we're in, right? If it's not a playoff game and this isn't that the end of the world, you could use him in theory in game 5 if you need him, right? If you need to pull him, you can then use him. If you maybe let him go that full game, maybe he doesn't get the rest. Maybe then he gives up a run and the confidence isn't quite there. This way you pull him out at his best and he gets to take that moving forward. So no, I was a little torn as we were sort of moving through that game. I was like, but then I'm like, oh, okay, hold on, bring it back a little bit here, because you got to think bigger picture. And so I do applaud John Schneider for thinking big picture there. As much as, maybe the team and some people say like, oh, we don't play for records. There would be some teams that are like, well, this guy's going, let him go. But the confidence to pull him there, and Skylar, I'm 100% with you. I think John Schneider's done a bang up job this season. Coming off of a few that, we weren't necessarily too happy with. But
the memories of Jose Berrios in Minnesota are long gone. They're long gone.
That's right. The season's been fantastic. And I think he's grown as a manager into a position to be confident in pulling off that move and not worrying about maybe what would have been said online. So I'm pleased with that.
He got booed by a home crowd taking out a pitcher.
You know what though? That
is how much of a laugher this baseball game was. Like, that's one of the, you got to think about that. Like, And he said after the post game, he's like, that was I've been booed a lot of times. But that was one of the best times I've ever been booed for sure.
Yeah, that's definitely one he'll take on the chin. He's not going to complain too much about that whatsoever. But with Trey Savage, the confidence thing, that's I think a very underrated part of it, is that if things do go bad, they were unbelievable. Like, there was nothing that was suggesting that things were going to go bad whatsoever, but you have the confidence. Like, you saw how disgusting he was. You want that guy available for game 5. Why throw him? He's at 78 pitches. Why throw him when you're up 12-0? Just didn't really make any sense. Second time throughout the order, the Yankees could not figure him out whatsoever. Don't let them have more opportunities to see this guy and start to figure him out. Yeah. As a baseball fan, yes, you see your pitcher, your young prospect, your first round pick, pitch against your rival, the New York Yankees, and be dominant. Like, some of the swings, absolutely ridiculous. Didn't look like the Yankees were an MLB team with some of the swings that he was producing. But again, in the grand scheme of things, like, the goal is to win a World Series, and the goal is to get beyond the ALDS. You let Trey Savage go in a game, let's be honest, it's completely over at that point. The Jays have that wrapped up. It's almost meaningless innings in a sense that you're just wasting Trey Savage. So I love the call by John Schneider to take him out there. Seeing, the next 5 guys roll out, and then you need 5 relievers to get through an inning and 2/3. That's not exactly ideal. But when you're looking at who they rolled out, it's Tommy Nance, it's Brayden Fisher, which I didn't love how he was struggling. But it's some of these guys that, again, are probably going to be in lower leverage. Like, you're not going to throw Justin Brule in the 8th inning when it's like a 2-1 game. Like, that's why you're throwing him there. You're throwing him in that 12-0 game to see if he can give you anything. And unfortunately, he didn't really give you anything whatsoever. So a lot of your higher end guys like Louis Varland looked very good once again. Seranthony Dominguez did have some command issues that does come with them. So your high end guys, your high end relievers, they still look good. Now, that's something that I can definitely be confident in going into game 3 at Yankee Stadium.
Well, and that's just the Brayden Fisher continues the narrative of not being good in low
high
leverage,
man. That guy does not care unless it's a close ball game. Like, why am I out here? I'm wasting my time.
It's kind of the same with Mason Fluharty too. I mean, you took 5 relievers out of the pen, and they all recorded 1 out, and they're like, "Okay, Louis, do that thing again that you did on Saturday." And then he obviously
101 plays every single time.
Clean 8th, and he touched the ball on defense twice, which was pretty impressive. That wasn't the way I thought that was going to go, but obviously it was a clean sheet, and Seranthony Dominguez ran the pitch count up a little bit there to close the ball game out. And I actually thought the Yankees had a pretty good approach with their 4 batters that were at the plate, or 5 batters that were at the plate in the bottom of the ninth, or top of the ninth, which would give you some bit of concern. I mean, Blue Jays have scored 36 runs in their last 3 baseball games, so just a little bit to take with you. But that'd be it for me.
It was a lot to come from us here. This is a big episode, obviously a lot to break down. We'll be back with you tomorrow. We'll tee up game 3. We're going to have to chat more about some of these guys, dive deeper into the stats, and that'll be on tomorrow's episode. We're still planning to go live on the Tuesday. You can just chill, watch the game, have our stream on, have the game on. We'll all hang out. We'll chat some Jays. It'll be a very fun afternoon. And then podcasts always with us Monday to Friday as the Blue Jays continue on here in the postseason. Up 2 games to 0. Soccer reference, you like that? On the New York Yankees.
Can you name?
Guy hasn't watched a soccer game this year.
I was going to say name 3
Pele?
European soccer teams.
Pele? Is that a guy? Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, he's South American. Yeah, sure.
Stick to baseball. How about that?
Yeah, that's the play. I don't know soccer, but the nil thing was cool.
You don't know NFL.
I was watching Ted Lasso this week.
This guy was trying to convince me to go Ravens over Texans. He's like, it's mortgage betting, mortgage betting.
Remember that mortgage? The beers were flowing.
He was very confident.
That's the duality of the FanDuel versus Rocket Money ads right there. Like you put the mortgage on FanDuel, and then next thing you know, you need Rocket Money to manage your ramen purchases for the next 10 years.
Thanks everybody for watching. We'll be back with you tomorrow. Peters will be with us throughout the postseason as we continue to cover this team and be fans of this team. And if you guys want to leave us comments for tomorrow, we'll go over some of your guys' thoughts and feelings. So make sure you guys do that. We'll get into a bunch of stuff as we continue on through this week. Thanks for listening.